Hi there, I'm Scout,
And I'm Frodo.
and we're both very happy and also a bit sad. We're happy to be sharing our after dinner talk with you, and we're sad.
Because this is 2021 and the pandemic is still going on and we can't host hikers for the second season in a row.
Right, we're here in our San Diego home in our backyard, and what would have been here, or what should have been here this year and last year, and was in 2019, was we'd have 40 hikers
Every night for 2 months.
sleeping in big catering tents, in a few in their own tents, sleeping in the treehouse, in the tent trailer out front. We'd every day pick them up at the airport, making 4, 5, 6, 7 different trips. Every morning, we'd leave and take out 2/3 of them, because internationals can stay for multiple nights. We'd feed them right now. It'd be very close to after dinner. And we'd be doing our after dinner talk, and dinner would have been, what might dinner have been tonight?
Oh, probably chili and cornbread and salad and cupcakes for dessert.
Right. And everything we make fresh. I get 5 or 6 people helping out in the kitchen, slicing and dicing. In fact, olive hikers say, Scout, I've never sauteed before. Thank you very much. Yeah. But we normally start dinner talk with a little story and then dive right into it. The story is always, I have about 6 or 7, and tonight what I'm going to share with you is about time. Because this has been telling time, and this time has been odd. It's almost a year now that we have been, we've been distancing. The only person I'm able to hug is Frodo. And I would talk to people sitting around, the 40 people gathered around us in a circle, about time. It was the night the moon was up. I'd ask them, look at the moon, because here's the deal. In the city, in our normal life, moon doesn't mean anything. But on the trail, it becomes real significant. It tells, can I night hike tonight? Will I need my headlamp when I go out and pee?
How long have I been on the trail?
Yeah.
Is this my first full moon? Is this my second full moon? Is this my 5th full moon?
I'd have you look at the moon, especially as a full moon. I'd say, the next full moon, you'll have hiked 400, 500 miles. That's one way to tell time. Well, how do we tell time at Scout and Frodo's? As I said, we do dinner, we do breakfast, we cook fresh pumpkin muffins and fruit and chili frittata and steel cut oats. Well, here's one way we tell time at Scout and Frodo's. I pick this up, and this is one way. An empty 25-pound sack of steel cut oats is one way we tell time here. So where we normally start is with an apology. Tell folks there's something about which we've been setting a bad example. When you go on our website, we're very clear, please, no gifts, no donations. We do it because we can, because we have so many volunteers who help us out. But the thing is, up the trail, when people do special things for you, say such as at a Third Gate Cache, they hike in that water, they buy the water, they're not filling up those jugs, and they could easily spend $1,000. There's a little collection jar there. It's not a big deal. If you stay in someone else's house, if someone gives you a ride, offer them, please. Can I help out? Can I contribute a few bucks? Yeah. You want to...
So there are some people who are kind of regular trail angels who you'll be interacting with. There will also be people who are just kind of spontaneous trail angels. They'll give you a hitch into town. You'll chat them up and maybe they'll offer some other help. So we ask that you be good trail ambassadors. And that means that when someone picks you up, yes, maybe apologize for how you smell.
That's
offer
the first
to roll
thing you do.
down the windows. That's often the first thing you do. Offer to pay for gas. Thank them. Be gracious. Be grateful. Sometimes hikers have a bit of a tendency to start to feel entitled, like, I'm out here doing this really cool, important thing. Everybody else should be wanting to support me. And that gets really old for everyone else really fast. So please don't start acting entitled. Make sure that you're a good representative of the trail community.
You might be the only person from the trail that person has ever met that summer. So you have a mighty weight on your shoulders.
That's right. You are the representative of the PCTA trail community. So again, be respectful, be courteous, don't expect help, but be gracious and grateful when it's offered. Also, just realize that you're a hiker and that perhaps other people aren't quite as used to your aroma. One example is in Warner Springs, where there is kind of a rustic resort that's been closed for many years, but they have reopened the restaurant by the golf course. And the first year they opened it up, hikers started coming in, and it was just wonderful. They weren't expecting this. One of the early hikers came in, and he sat down and ordered himself a nice lunch, and then he took off his shoes. So after that, when hikers came to the restaurant, there was a sign on the door that said, PCT hikers must eat outside. So you don't want to be the person who's responsible for those kinds of restrictions. You want to make sure that, again, you are respectful and courteous in public places. So please, again, be good trail ambassadors.
Watch out for each other.
And then you also need, please, watch out for each other. And usually I feel like I don't need to tell hikers this, because you will become part of a trail community and you will care for each other and you will want to help each other. But I did hear a story from one of our live-in helpers a few years ago, how on his first day hiking to Lake Morena up out of Hauser Canyon, he got heat stroke and he was lying by the side of the trail and nobody stopped to help him. And that just broke my heart. And then I thought, well, maybe it's because they were kind of new to the trail and new to the trail community and they weren't sure what they were supposed to do. But please help each other out. Watch out for each other. Sometimes you'll come across somebody who is sitting at the side of the trail and they're not looking so great. Ask if they need water. Sit down and chat with them, because sometimes people, PCT hikers in particular, feel like they have to be kind of macho.
Hiker pride.
And so they will say, no, I'm okay. You don't need to stop. I'm fine. But maybe you ought to stop anyway, chat them up a little bit, make sure they're okay, make sure they have water, because sometimes that can save a life.
Yeah.
So please watch out for each other. Don't be overly machismo. If you need help, please do accept help. And take care of your trail community.
This next part is one been every night for 3 years running, and it's hard each and every time, because I had to say the names of two very dear hikers, Tree and Strawberry. Hiked with us and stayed with us in 2017. 3 nights, one from mainland China, one from Japan. Strong, competent young women, but slight. And that summer, we got the news. We got to know them. We got the news over about 2 weeks' time that each of them have been found. Their bodies have been found in a Sierra stream, downstream from the trail. Yeah. So let's talk stream crossings for a moment. This may be a high snow year. You may, even in a regular or low snow year, you may be going through, and that moment, that period, you have a difficult stream crossing that faces you. What should you do? And first of all, in that stretch, Sierra Nevada, you get to Kennedy Meadows. I'm at Kennedy Meadows. Don't go in alone.
It's kind of like, where was it, St. Louis,
St.
where
Louis,
the
Missouri.
pioneers would, make wagon trains and group up because there's safety in numbers, and that really is true in the High Sierra as well.
They'd eye each other and say, who do I want to go? Who do I trust by now? You've had 700 miles together. So one, hike in a small group, not just yourself. You get to a stream crossing, it looks difficult. What do? Go upstream, go downstream, scout it out. Often there's a down log you can find somewhere else safer. You get to a difficult stream crossing, you've gone upstream and you've gone downstream. Wait overnight. This is really true. I've seen it with my very eyes. I didn't believe it at first. Wait overnight, it'll freeze up high where the water's coming from, and the water will be 3, 4, 5, 6 inches lower when you wake the next morning.
At least.
Yeah. If you are hiking by yourself and you got to this point, difficult stream crossing, I've looked up and down and I don't see anything good, sit and wait. Someone else will come along. You're on the PCT. And we had a beautiful story a few years back. Some friends we joined on the trail for a section of the John Muir Trail, and they told us, we were by Tyndall Creek, and it was really, the water was high that year, and we come up to it, and there's a guy sitting there, and he quickly tells us He's been there waiting for 3 hours for someone else to come by. We asked him, why'd you do that? And he said, well, there are these people in San Diego, Scout and Frodo.
Now realize, our friend who came along, he's 7 feet tall. So he was a good person to
And 300 pounds and competent. So he'd be a good person to hold on across the street.
Yes.
But the basic message is, take care of yourself. And finally, if you've done all these things and it still looks dangerous, turn around, find an alternate route. Frodo on the Continental Divide Trail, when she dropped me off, she did support there. Her last words to me were no longer, I love you. Her last words to me as I walk off by myself onto the CDT were,
make wise decisions.
So please do that for us.
Also, there's some good information on the PCTA website about strategies for safe stream crossings.
Yeah. We'd actually print it out here, and we'd ask people, please, before you go, look at that, and also look at a picture of poodle bush, poodle dog bush, so you know what that looks like too, which you can do at home. Next section is on Leave No Trace, and I'd be sitting here and maybe a third of people the night before, and they'd all know what to do, because you need to make Leave No Trace fun, right? See, she's laughing, and we'd all do this. Hands would go in the air, and I'd say, tonight, now it's time for another episode of Leave No Trace. And we'd have, half the people. I think it disturbed our neighbors too. I'm not sure about that. Yeah. So three things about leaving the trace. First of all, we know the basic rule, right? What do we take? And I'd say, everyone say,
what do you take?
Yeah, what do you take out there? What can you take back out there?
What do you take away from there?
Yes.
This is a little different than usual.
Photos.
Yes.
Pictures.
Don't take anything
We didn't
else.
practice this tonight. It's our first time this year. What can you leave?
Footprints.
Thank you very much. Good. Two specific topics I want to talk about. First is soap. And I know REI, Dr. Bonners, they all say biodegradable, and it's just fine out there. The truth is it's not really. You will walk by streams out there and you'll see eddies with suds and stuff.
Brown foam.
Just as ingesting soap is not good for you, it is not good for any of the living creatures out there. So I see some of you out there and you're thinking, but Scout, I got my green bottle of REI Camp Suds. How am I getting myself clean? And that's easy. How do you do it?
So I like to go down to a stream, and you can't always do this because you're not always camping by a stream, but a bandana that you can dip in the water and a little pack towel, and you do a little sponge bath, and it's so nice to get not sticky, but there are some nights where you just have to deal with it.
I've taken a pot, because you probably shouldn't necessarily do it right by the stream.
Oh, it's just good dirt.
Okay, all right, it's just good dirt. That's right, we're leaving good dirt back where we found it. So that's keeping yourself clean. Another method, which I've had someone voice to me and I begin to like it, and that's the scentless, no smell baby wipes. Was a nice way to go to the night. So now, what about your pot? Scout, don't I need to scrub down my pot? And I didn't bring my prop. I usually have a pot right here. So pretend this is my pot, my 7-ounce pot, and I've just finished dinner. Oh, it was warm and good. And I've gone with my spoon. I've cleaned it pretty darn well. Now I take some water and I put it in, and I do this again. And you know what I have?
Soup. Sorry.
Yes, second course.
Soup.
Right, watch. Good. And I do it one more time. And I drink the water then too. And your pot is pretty darn clean. So that's soap. Second thing is toilet paper. What do we do with our toilet paper?
We pack out our used toilet paper.
Yeah, because if you can imagine 3,000 people starting every day, at least pooping once, hopefully. And how much toilet paper that is over
and if you're
5 months?
female,
Oh.
you don't have to dig holes all the time, every single time you go out to pee, so this is nice.
And I had someone one year after maybe a third of the way through the season said, Scout, you need props. So here, I have props. I have my toilet paper. That's great, thank you very much.
Whoops.
Oh, and they made me a trowel, a prop trowel. Toilet paper.
You don't need the whole big bag.
No. And of course, you should have a Perel where you have on the outside of your
hand
pack.
sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer. But what I really like is there are people who don't like looking at their dirty toilet paper. So I've seen people take duct tape and maybe draw a picture or put their name on the outside.
But it makes it really heavy.
Yeah, it does. But I like are these. You see that? You get some special
Turn it
baggies.
around.
Oh, turn around?
Yeah.
There we go, okay. And here we have a Stormtrooper, Star Wars, and they have like different ones. So make it fun. Take out your toilet paper though.
Yes, pack out all your used toilet paper, please. What happens is if you bury it, even if you really do bury it the whole 6 inches, which we know most people end up not doing that, the critters come along and they say, kind of smells around here. And oh, look at this loose dirt area. And they dig it up and they drag it around. And we have seen used toilet paper in the bushes and in the trees. And that's really unsightly and not good for the ecosystem.
Toilet paper fun. In Israel, they stamp designs on their toilet paper. Such, here is, you can buy
Actually
toilet
embossed.
paper embossed with puppies on it. I couldn't believe it, but it's actually true. And little known weird facts about toilet paper, right? Such as during Desert Storm, during the Desert Storm operation, the U.S. Army used toilet paper to camouflage their tanks. Got to see that one. I'm serious.
I haven't heard that one
It's on the internet, right?
It must be correct.
And Charmin sponsors a contest every year to design and make wedding dresses out of toilet paper. There's a $2,000 prize. Not used toilet paper. Finally, there's a toilet paper museum in Wisconsin. Should we go visit it?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah. At this point, we would talk about the drill in the morning. Getting up at what time, what to do, don't disturb your neighbors, and that's, on this, is not really applicable. At this point too, as you can see, it's getting a little cool here, and even though it's San Diego, most everyone would be in their down puffies. And I tell, as part of our drill in the morning, what you do to get in the cars by 6 a.m. and head out on what will be your
big adventure.
Your trip of a lifetime. I'd often tell one story about a woman who at 10 minutes to 6 was in the garage. She's looking at her
No, she was on the living room floor.
She was on the living room floor.
And she's realizing this is the first time she's tried to actually pack everything in her pack.
Right, and she's in tears because it's not, she looks at her pack and she looks at the stuff and it's just simply not gonna fit.
Oh, and that reminds me, we should tell you that when you're starting out from Campo, you need to carry lots of water.
Yes.
So if you are planning on getting all the way to Lake Morena in one day, that's 20 miles, then you should carry at least 4 liters of water. Depending on how hot it is, maybe more. If you're planning on taking 2 days to get to Lake Morena or more than 1 day, then you need to carry at least 6 liters of water.
You can always, if that's too much, you can always dump it out. What you can't do is you can't manufacture it out there, water. Every year we hear of multiple rescues in that first 20-mile stretch. And thankfully, so far, it's never been one of ours.
No, I don't
Never
think so.
one of our people, yeah. So,
Sorry, I interrupted you.
that's right, Portia, she's there, she's in tears. This is not gonna work. And Frodo basically tells you, it's okay. You can stay a day. This is before the permit system. You can stay a day. Will some people help you? We'll do a pack shakedown. And that's what happened. And next morning she goes out.
And that was the last we heard for a number of years.
Right, that was the last we heard for a number of years. And I'm hiking up the Continental Divide Trail on 400 miles in New Mexico. 2015 up the trail, and we're at a Trail Angels house, and we're sitting there, and we tell this story, because it's a Scout and Frodo story.
No, it's somebody asked, actually.
Someone asked.
But yes.
Yeah. And Scout and Frodo's is by the Miramar Air Station.
Sorry.
Which you're hearing right now. They're about to do a flyover. It'll get, there you go. They just went down Doppler. And we're telling the story, and we finish, and a woman who is soaking her feet in a 5-gallon bucket looks up and says,
"That was me."
That was me. Portia had made it up the entire Pacific Crest Trail. Here she is, 400 miles up the Continental Divide Trail.
So she figured it out.
Yeah. And so any of you who are often the night before or that morning get out there and think, everyone else looks so competent. Everyone else is must be so prepared, and not me. You know, you too can be like her.
You can figure it out as you go along.
And I want to end, like I do every night with our dinner talk, briefly. I'm going to stand on my soapbox, figuratively, and talk about the Pacific Crest Trail Association. I was on the board. I had the honor of serving as a board chair for 3 years back when. And a thru hiker finished and wrote a letter to the Pacific Crest Trail Association. This is how the letter began.
What year was this?
It began, the letter began, I just finished my Pacific Crest Trail through hike. I saw blowdowns, I saw overgrown trail, I saw washouts repeatedly. It looks like no one cares. I feel a quiet sense of rage, yeah. The year was 1991.
Sorry about that. I wasn't supposed to say that.
This is what being married 43 years looks like.
Yeah, we get to laugh about these things.
It's all good. It's all good. Today, through hikers finishing the trail instead walk off feeling, you know, that trail is in pretty darn good shape. Last year, volunteers put down over 100,000 volunteer trail maintenance hours. Food, so much of the planning and training and tools came from Pacific Crest Trail Association, working with our government partners, to be sure. But yeah, because here's my hope. My hope is that 50 years from now, people will sit around with butterflies in their stomach in San Diego, contemplating that the next morning, just like many of you are, that the next morning they are going to go out and hike the Pacific Crest Trail. And that's our one dinner talk this year, folks.
So good luck and make wise decisions.
Yeah. Hugs from Scout and Frodo.